up, everybody? Welcome to LPTV and Doobie looking for a banner. And welcome to LPTV presentation of the top 10 Disney moments of 2022 as determined by the editorial staff of Laughing Place. My name is Doobie Mosley. I founded this place many decades ago, along with my wife, Rebecca, and helping me out today. That sounds so wrong. Co-hosting with me today.
Happy 25th anniversary to both of you.
Thank you so much. Yes, today is our 25th anniversary. Whew, we're old. That's Kyle Burbank, managing editor of Laughing Place. How you doing, Kyle?
Hello. Good.
We're gonna. These are in no particular order. How's the weather out there in Missouri right now?
It's improving. The snow is melting. It's about 50 degrees today, but then there's also a chance of like wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So, you win some, you lose some.
Oh, what's worse, snow or wind?
Before we get into this, there's a chance we're going to talk spoilers for certain Disney Plus shows and movies and stuff, but we will give you specific warnings before we get to those sections.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, and I know the list. I don't think any of the spoilers are very recent. Like, we're not going to spoil Avatar, but if you are way behind on your Disney Plus viewing, then yes, you may want to close your ears when we get to those points. So we will give you warning. So again, I'm Doobie. This is Kyle. We're going to be joined later on in this by our British representation here at Laughing Place, Luke, to talk about, and as we go through our list, I'm sure we'll have some personal ones as well, but we are going to focus on the 10 as determined by the LP editorial staff. So let's get started. Kyle, again, these are in no particular order. So what is the first moment?
Well, no particular order, but I feel like this one had to be the first one because it's on the top of everyone's mind. And that is the Bob Iger, Bob Chapek Sunday swap or Sunday switch, as we called it. Even if all the things that people want from this don't come to fruition, I think the moment itself will live in infamy. Just the way we all found out about it and kind of made its way through Diz Twitter and the disbelief, because media savvy people are like, this. I don't know if this is real. There's something up here, and then we find out that it is indeed very real. It was a hectic moment for people that write about Disney, but definitely had to be included among the top moments of the year.
Yeah, it's always hard to do these moments because, it's hard to define exactly what is a moment, but this one made it easy. There was, for all of us in the world of Disney, there was a specific moment. I feel like there were two specific moments. one, you heard about it, and then two, you realized it was true. And
then three, you realized that Benji didn't yet know about it, and that you had more knowledge than him for a moment.
You got to tell him, and that was the Sunday. I was in Buena Park for that. We were on our way back to our car from Knott's Berry Farm, and I saw a message from one of my friends that said, "Hey, Bob Iger is replacing Bob Chapek," and I'm like, what spoof website is putting this out? And then I think I actually ignored it at first, and then later on, I'm like, let me go see what's on Deadline, and it's like, oh. So, it is the ultimate "where were you when" moment for Disney fans of our generation. Let's go ahead and bring on. Are you ready, Luke? All right, let's go ahead and bring on Luke Manning, coming to us live from the United Kingdom. How you doing, Luke?
Definitely not coming to you live from the United Kingdom. And I don't know why I'm still waving.
What time is it out there?
1:05.
Time zones are weird. I don't understand. Where were you when this moment happened? Where were you when this moment happened?
I was right alongside Kyle Burbank. I was the one on the news desk that night, so we saw it and we both jumped in there. Yeah,
I don't think he normally would have been on. He was on because of the Elton John live stream, which didn't yield anything. But luckily that triggered something in Benji's brain that he scheduled Luke, because otherwise I would have been solo trying to navigate this massive story.
Yeah, we were able to put it together pretty darn quickly there. So
yeah, I don't think there's any question. This was not only the top Disney moment of 2022. This was probably the top business moment of 2022, certainly entertainment business moment of 2022. It was humongous, and it was so much fun to be covering it for that day and the next couple of weeks, especially since I didn't actually have to write anything. It was a fun time. So
you did write some stuff. You wrote little synopsises of all of the articles that came out from every publication detailing the fallout.
Right. So. That's right, I did. So, and of course, we're live here, guys. So if you have your moments that you want to make sure we don't overlook, feel free to use the chat to do that. All right, so that one's the obvious one. Let's get to some of the less obvious ones. I keep wanting to number them. They're not numbered. Our second moment we're going to discuss here. Let me see what I have it here. It is, you know what? I'm going to let you do the intros, Kyle, so I can prepare the assets. What's the second moment?
Well, then I should probably load the article so I know what's next. But I think, is the next one the parks one?
The next one is the spectaculars.
Nighttime spectaculars. Yeah, so more than a year, or almost exactly a year after Disneyland reopened, the resort brought back its nighttime spectaculars, the parade, the World of Color, of course, since Tony might be watching. And it was a big deal because people had missed those things. Like for me, I could take them or leave them. Like I like them, but it actually kind of is nice to be able to walk through from Tomorrowland to Fantasyland and not get stopped by a parade. But at the same time, I know for other people that these are an essential part of any Disney parks visit. And so it felt like the park was complete again when these came back. And we had Fantasmic come back at Hollywood Studios as well.
I don't know why this was the thing that randomly popped into my head, but I just got reminded of one of the most insane traffic control, like crowd control moments I'd ever experienced at Disneyland, which was I think it was during like the 60th anniversary fireworks, when they had that and Paint the Night running. But the crowd flow was, say if you were on Main Street and you were trying to get to Frontierland, you would have to go all the way up Main Street, around the hub, into Tomorrowland, up and around the Astro Orbiter, and then around by Sleeping Beauty Castle to get to Frontierland. It was, that was something.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I thought of that, but
you guys are jaded.
Some of the challenges of these nighttime, especially at a smaller park like Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
And they're worth every effort because I love the nighttime spectaculars, Fantasmic, the electrical parade, although frankly that one can, sail on. But it's an important part to me of every time something new happens, you're like, oh, the parks are returning to normal. The parks are finally back to normal. And yet there's always one more thing to go. And so this was a very, very important part to the parks getting back to normal, cramming on Main Street and or trying to get to Frontierland for Fantasmic while 10,000 people are trying to get to Main Street who just finished Fantasmic. It's always quite an adventure. So yay for the
Speaking of Fantasmic, the return at Hollywood Studios was one that a lot of people were waiting for. We kind of lumped it in with this, even though it's a different resort, but I know that's one I'm excited to go see because that one has a new scene as well.
And the new scene is having seen it in person, the new scene is really good. There's parts of it, specifically the Moana scene and the Frozen 2 scene, using the song "Show Yourself." I thought was a brilliant idea to use that instead of the more obvious choice of "Let It Go." And
Thank you, Disney.
It's really good.
I'm very excited to see that too. Yeah, Fantasmic is back, both coasts. Life is good. Kyle, what is next?
Next, excited for some people. Excited just because now it's like off the books. Avatar 2 was finally released after all this time. I wrote an article, I think in 2015 or 16, that was like, will the Avatar sequels ever actually come out? And it only took them like 6 years for me to be wrong. So there's that. It didn't get the biggest box office opening weekend. It's holding on pretty decently. It's actually just crossed $1 billion at the global box office as of today, or as of yesterday. So, we'll see where it ends up. But it's good to have it out there just so we can stop talking about it.
And that is the thing. We've been talking about this for so long that the fact that it actually came out is a huge moment, regardless of how you feel about it. It's a big moment. Have either one of you guys seen it?
Lucas.
I have seen it, and my opinion is definitely going to be an interesting one, given the fact that I haven't seen the original Avatar.
That
So
is interesting.
yeah, I had always found it very difficult just to find the time and the energy to sit down and watch a 3-hour movie like that. But I wasn't particularly interested in. Before Pandora opened, I had zero interest. Once Pandora opened, I'm like, okay, well, I really enjoy both of these rides, so maybe I'll enjoy the movie, but that still wasn't enough to get me to do it. But I was able to go see Avatar: The Way of Water for Laughing Place, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story beats. I enjoyed the visuals, absolutely the music. I just thought it was too long. And there was so much fat in there that could have been trimmed out, just to make it as good of a movie, just not being like 3.5 hours long.
I feel like there's a line of people who are there to see a movie and people who are there to experience Avatar: The Way of Water, because I listened to my favorite film reviewers, and what they absolutely loved about this movie is how it just completely took its time in the middle and let you just live in this world without any story beats happening, without the plot moving along. You just got to live in the world for a while in the middle of the movie. And I'm with you. That's the part of the movie that they could have just squashed and made a nice, tight, 2.25-hour movie. So, but for people who love being in the world of Avatar, that's what made it for them. So, I'm not going to call out James Cameron for that, because clearly he had an audience that wanted that. Just not me. Well, but I enjoyed it. The movie is good.
You mentioned Pandora. There's a chance we'll see some updates to that. James Cameron said in an interview that he did send an email. So that's very official. He sent an email to Iger with some ideas for how to update Flight of Passage. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I'm sure it'll be ready in time for Avatar 5 or something.
I mean, that's why you make so much action, so they can be easily updated. Easily updated. What surprised me, Avatar was a sensation. I did not think they could make another sensation. I thought he'd make a good movie, but I didn't think he could make another movie that just made you go, wow, because you've already had that wow moment with the first one. And it's hard to reproduce that, to duplicate that. And I think he did. This is a wow movie visually. There's no way he can do that again. No way. Not a chance. All right. Kyle, what is next on our list?
Next up is what I believe to be one of your favorites, and that is the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. And beyond the ride itself, what I think is interesting to me as a nerd is the fact that we now have a Marvel attraction at Walt Disney World, but we can't call it Marvel because of all the legal things. But they found a way around it, and from all accounts, this is a really cool ride that might make you motion sick, but otherwise should be pretty thrilling and fun.
No motion sickness whatsoever on this. This is my number one Disney moment of 2022 as far as enjoyment. When I finally got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind a few months ago, it is spectacular, just spectacular. The best roller coaster. Yeah, the most enjoyable roller coaster I've personally ever been on. I'm not a coaster freak like you, Luke, but for me personally, it's the most enjoyable roller coaster I've ever been on. It is now my second favorite ride at Walt Disney World, behind only Rise of the Resistance. It did not disappoint. And the fact that you can ride it again and again and get a different experience because of the music, which does make a big difference, as evidenced by the holiday version.
You just hop back in line and, oh, wait.
Not on the same day, but the holiday version.
I was going to make that joke.
I don't love the music in the holiday version, so that shows what a big difference the music makes. But wow, what a spectacular attraction!
I was
Very happy.
hoping for just like a slew of different like classic holiday songs, like maybe like Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time or something like that, like random holiday songs. I feel like that would have been more enjoyable than a version of Run Rudolph Run that you don't entirely know the lyrics to. Makes it kind of hard to rock out to it.
Yeah, my one rule for Christmas music is you need to recognize it. An unrecognizable Christmas song is not a Christmas song and should not be heard. So going on this and not realizing what's being sung broke my rule. So, but I don't want to be negative here. The point is, this is a spectacular attraction. Every other song I've heard on it is great. And I still haven't gotten Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which I know is just going to blow my mind when I finally do get that. So
I've only got 2 out of the 6, and I've been on the ride about 5 or 6 times. And I just keep getting Iran every time.
I got Iran.
One day you'll get Iraq. Yeah. But as a coaster fan, does this even like crack your top 10, or is it more of because it's not like what do you look for in a coaster? I guess like does this have enough other elements to make it a good coaster, or does it make it a better attraction than a coaster?
That's definitely a difficult question to answer. So I'll try my best. I don't know. Every person that enjoys roller coasters kind of looks for a different thing. Some people like inversions, some people like airtime. This one doesn't really have like the launch isn't too crazy. Some of the like the helixes going down when you're like kind of rotating, that can be a little intense. So I wouldn't say it's like the most intense ride. I think both Rock and Roller Coaster and Expedition Everest are more intense. But as far as like a full top to bottom experience, it's definitely fantastic. But like as far as like if you're looking at it strictly as a roller coaster, I think in Orlando I definitely prefer like Velocicoaster. I think maybe even Hagrid's I enjoy a little bit more than Guardians. But it is definitely one of those rides where you're like every time you're like, oh wow, this is amazing. And that's just kind of from the whole experience.
Luke, how common, I'm not a coaster guy, what's special about it is the way you rotate, and it's not just like a random rotation like a Primeval Whirl, but it's like they want you to face certain ways. How common is that in the coaster world?
A lot of most times that there are spinning coasters is typically weight balanced, that sort of thing. The controlled spinning is not as common. So the only other example I can think of is actually from Silver Dollar City, Kyle's local park, and we were able to go there a few months ago. And they have a coaster called Time Traveler, which is what's called an extreme spinning coaster. So it's a coaster that spins but also goes upside down, also has launches, a 90-degree drop. So that one is a controlled spinning, because I think if that was just kind of like weight balanced or a free for all, that could end up being kind of sickening. And I think that's what helps with Cosmic Rewind 2, the fact that it's all controlled, because if it wasn't controlled and it was all based on weight or whatever, then I think you would start seeing even more.
That would be crazy.
Bags to the exit.
So the spinning is what makes it's because it's so disorienting, and it's enough to have the track itself, but then when you don't know which way you're facing, and it's an amazing experience. Love Cosmic Rewind. Looking forward to Kyle getting a chance to ride it. Tell us what he thinks. Kyle. Oh, is that a maybe for you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's I don't think Kyle will ride it.
Kyle doesn't do coasters?
We'll see. I used to. I've cut back as I've gotten older. I don't know.
You're not old, Kyle. You're barely 30.
I'm gonna be 37 in a month. Like, it's very old.
I've got
Anyway,
marriages
on
older
to our
than you.
next
Okay.
one. This
Next.
might have, if you haven't watched Obi-Wan, there might be some light spoilers here. But we wanted to highlight the rematch of, well, I guess it's kind of a rematch. It's kind of a pre-match, I guess, of Obi-Wan and
A
Vader.
mid-match.
A mid-match. There you go.
Yeah.
I know people had mixed feelings about this show, but there's a couple things that I think really stand out, and one of them was this: having Hayden Christensen back and having, I just completely forgot his name. The other guy,
Ewan McGregor.
Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor. Thank you. I was like, Evan.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Ewan McGregor getting to have this fight, and then also I think the surprise of having the young Leia. That was one of my favorite things because I don't think people really knew about that ahead of time. I certainly didn't. And I thought that the actress that portrayed her did a really great job. So those two things I think make the show worth watching, even if it's not the strongest, Star Wars series overall.
When you talk about specific moments, I mean, this fight is fantastic, but the moment, because all the rumor leading up, including the teaser trailer and how they tease things, was that Luke Skywalker was going to be a part of this. So the moment when we realized Princess Leia, a very, very young Princess Leia, was a part of this was, just about as surprising as seeing baby Yoda way back when. It was a great moment in Disney Plus.
I agree.
The showdown between Vader and Obi-Wan, and specifically the scene where, spoiler alert, where Obi-Wan gets his mask and you can see through Vader into Anakin's eyes, and the blending back and forth between Hayden Christensen's voice and James Earl Jones' Darth Vader. That is the best scene in Star Wars in years. I think that particular moment is the best.
I'm glad you added in years. I was a little worried there.
I think that was like the best moment in anything Star Wars that Disney has done. Not necessarily saying that Obi-Wan as a whole was the best thing, but that particular moment was pitch perfect. It was incredible.
It was an incredible moment. I agree. Let's give some credit to YouTube channel Nukem Dead, who put up that scene from Obi-Wan. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the pirate. Good job.
It's not pirate. Disney doesn't mind. If Disney cared, they would take it down.
Yes.
And they have not. I'm sure they're getting alerts that this scene is up there.
Our next one is a spoiler alert for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that is the Illuminati making MCU fans' dreams come true, sort of. So if you didn't see the movie, then there's a scene where Doctor Strange is brought before the Illuminati, and we have some really interesting characters here. We have, first of all, Black Bolt from Inhumans, who is played by the same actor that was on the failed ABC show. So that was kind of a surprise. Right there, we have Haley Atwell as Captain Carter. Looks like she was pulled straight out of the What If series. We have, I forgot the actress's name, but the one who played Maria Rambeau, right?
Lashana Lynch.
Thank you. Yeah, she plays a version of Captain Marvel in this universe. And then, right there we have John Krasinski from The Office, not jimming the camera. But he's someone that fans have wanted as Reed Richards for several years. So to see him finally pop up, even if he's not ultimately the person that gets the role when they do Fantastic Four, I think was a huge nod. And then any moment now, we'll have Sir Patrick Stewart come out, reprising his role as Professor Xavier from the X-Men, which is another big moment and something that contractually could not have happened previously. And he's even got his hover chair from the animated series and comic books. So, very exciting scene. It's actually terrifying further on as this thing goes, because all of them get killed, pretty much instantly, in some pretty gruesome and terrifying ways at times. But it's really was an exciting way to enter into what the promise of the multiverse is. And, you know, like I said, as a nerd, I'm like, oh, contractually, this couldn't have happened before. And now it's a reality because of, you know, companies buying other companies. I don't know whether that part is exciting, but.
And give some credit to, I don't have to credit this one. This one's actually an official site, Marvel Universe Entertainment. I'm not sure if they're official. Let's go over credit. That was Marvel Universe Entertainment. If they're not official, they have Marvel in their name. So Marvel's definitely aware of
that fade in or whatever effect at the end didn't look too official to me. So.
You're probably right about this one.
Did you see this movie?
I'm sorry?
Did you see this movie?
I did, yeah. I still have to see Black Panther. That one I haven't got around to yet. But I did see Doctor Strange, and you know, I liked parts of it. I don't think it was. I don't think it was good.
Phoebe fell asleep through most of it.
So I did not fall asleep through most of it. Sorry, Luke. I did not fall asleep through most of it. Sadly, I did fall asleep through half of this scene, though. I woke up in the middle of this scene and was so confused. So that was sad.
Where did all these people come from, and why are they dying?
Yeah, that's not Captain America. And yes, especially why are they dying? So I'm sad because it is a spectacular scene, and I love John Krasinski, and it's cool to see everyone like that. And I'm very sad that I ruined that for myself, but not sad enough to watch it again.
We also should have. I should have included Mike Mack being part of a Marvel commercial as well as a great moment. One of the MCU's best, or whatever he said.
Yes, that's good. That that has gone from being so special to just old hat. Happens all the time.
I think it's still pretty cool. But anyway,
no, it is very cool.
We're gonna go back to the parks for this next one, so no spoilers to worry about. I had to include Disneyland Paris's new drone show among other 30th anniversary entertainment. But so I was there when the first time this Disney Delight, it's a pre-show to their fireworks. And it's the first time that a Disney park has used drones inside of one of their theme parks. You'll remember they did do a show over at Disney Springs for a minute there. But this is the first time in the parks, and they use it so beautifully. What?
You said for a minute. You said for a minute there, and that drove me crazy.
In a minute. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, it's mostly a projection show, but then at the very end, they had this 30 pop up seemingly out of nowhere. You don't really see or even feel the drones coming up, and there's just an audible gasp when it happens. And when I saw it, you'll see here, this is actually a post show that they had. So you had this slow pre-show with just the 30 show up at the end. Then you had the fireworks, and then there was a post-show. And I noted in my review that operationally this was really confusing because one of the times we saw it, people start to make their way down Main Street, and they kind of all stop and turn around and then come back because they realize something else is happening. So they've since actually combined it. So now the pre-show includes what was the post-show, which it kind of ruins the vibe a little bit, but it's cool to it does some extra effects during what was the post show, and it's now the second half of the pre-show. So I also really love their daytime entertainment. Disneyland Paris doing it right, but I think the drone show is the better moment of the year.
And that 30th anniversary logo is so clever. The way it doubles as a 30 and as a Mickey head. Very, very well done.
Agreed. I so mad that we don't have Disney drone shows here in the States yet. So irritating. I don't understand why other theme parks do them.
Perhaps they keep using them for the new Epcot show.
Hopefully,
one would hope. And one of the coolest parts, the last one I saw was we saw one after a baseball game. One of the coolest things about drone shows is you don't see the drones. So there's no hint as to what's coming up. And then just boom, it all appears. That is so cool. I would have thought these are drones. You could kind of see them flying around, but nope. They're just there's nothing, and then there's something, and it's so amazing. I love a good drone show. I love a bad drone show.
Really clever.
And they've also used their drones in other things. I know they did a special celebrating the opening of Avengers Campus. They had a really cool one. And then we were there on Bastille Day, and they incorporated that into their fireworks. They had like a waving French flag. They made the Eiffel Tower. So yeah, they're doing really cool things. And like Luke said, I think Epcot was one where they probably could get away with it if you have a base that comes out and that's where the drones are stored and they're only flying over the lagoon. That seems like that will probably be okay. But
I think out of all of the parks, that, or maybe as like a replacement for Rivers of Light at Animal Kingdom, that could work as well. The issue, the best, I think.
The issue with drone show, as far as we understand, at least here in America, is you can't fly them over people. So I'm not sure why, because as I've said before on DTL, it seems like that would be a positive, because if they should fall out of the sky, there's a better chance they'll have a soft landing and not break. But apparently that's not good enough, and so they don't allow you to fly them over people, and therefore it's a little harder to get a drone show done here. But hopefully they figure it away. Epcot Lagoon's a perfect spot. Yes, Kyle?
Well, he mentioned
it just depends on...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I mentioned Animal Kingdom. Like, yeah, if the balloons are going to crash, then...
Yeah, no one minds that. Luke, what'd you say?
I think it just probably depends on, like, say if they take place in the center of the World Showcase Lagoon, how much of a gap, a buffer does there have to be between where the drones are and where humans are? Like, is that gap big enough at Epcot?
They should just use softer drones. So if they land, you know what's funny is you could be watching a fireworks show at Epcot or Magic Kingdom, and you get hit by embers. I mean, these things happen. There's an inherent risk to going to a theme park. There's a liability waiver on the back. Bring on the drones.
Just make every guest wear a hard hat.
If that's what it takes,
problem solved.
To have a drone show, I have no problem with that, because I want to see a drone show over Cinderella Castle, not over Sleeping Beauty Castle. We'll just drown it out. You're like, what happened to the castle with the drone there? All right, Kyle, what's next?
Next up is another one that I know is near and dear to your heart, even though you haven't yet to be on it, and that is the Disney Wish Set Sail.
I'll take this one. The Disney Wish Set Sail, Disney's 5th cruise ship, Dream, Magic, Wonder, Fantasy, not in that order, but they decided to completely reimagine the thing. The two newest ships before this, Dream and Fantasy, are essentially larger versions of the original two ships. Here they went something completely different, completely reimagined. Longtime Disney cruisers say, why'd they make so many changes? But first-time cruisers, and a lot of long times too, saying it's really spectacular. You just have to experience it. So in about 2 months, I get to experience it and have my own opinion. I'm really looking forward to it. It's exciting that they did try something very, very new instead of just making more of the same. And look at that Grand Hall, the Disney Wish. Can't wait to experience it for myself. It is huge. It is beautiful. One thing everyone agrees on is it is absolutely stunning. So I'm excited to get inside and see for myself the Disney Wish. Sailing 3 and 4 day cruise out of Port Canaveral. We recommend Mouse Fan Travel for all your Disney Cruise Line needs. Yes, go ahead, Luke.
When are you sailing on the Disney Wish?
Whatever the last sailing in February is. I don't remember the exact date. Where are you going?
Okay. I'm going the first week of February.
Oh, what a bummer.
So it'll be my second cruise, because I just went on the Disney Fantasy for the first time in September.
You did? You did?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do a show where you give us you talk about your first Disney cruise. I would love to do that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Doing a 7-night cruise is your first time. Yeah, very, very interesting. This will be a 3-night cruise, so it'll be a little different.
My first Disney cruise was a 7-night on the Disney Magic and got hooked. I've done 12 now. It's spectacular.
Oh wow!
No, we really do need to show. I would love to do a show with you as a first-time cruiser. I want to start doing some trip report shows, so that would be a good one.
I've done 12 Pearl status now.
The next door. This is going to be like one of those cruises with a media cruise. So this will be my first, I think, platinum cruise actually. And and now they have this Pearl thing they've got coming on. So we got to.
Is Pearl 25?
25. And one nice thing is they do it by strictly by number of cruises. A lot of cruise ships have a point system, which takes into account how much you paid and how long the cruise is and all of that stuff. Disney is strictly number of cruises you've taken. So you can take a bunch of 3 days at the discount rate, and you can get to the pearl status, and then they will invent some platinum pearl status. But anyway, but I'm very excited to get on the ship. Max says it was his first time cruiser, and he absolutely loved it. I have my hesitations based on the 122 trip reports I've read and watched on YouTube, but my goal is to absolutely love it. I do not want to have a bad cruise.
My goal is to love it.
I'm not there to review it. I'm there to enjoy it. And so my goal is to love it, despite my hesitations. There's nothing better in the world other than being married to my wife for 25 years. There is nothing better in the world than a Disney cruise. And I'm so excited to be going on one in 60 days on a brand new ship. And then they announced the Disney Treasure at an event we're going to get to later today. And then they bought a brand new ship, and who knows what that's going to be. There's never been a better time to be a Disney cruiser. I'm so excited. Okay, let's move on. I'll stay here forever. Kyle.
Well, we're still, believe it or not, we're still going to talk a little bit about a cruise, because our next pick is a self-indulgent one, and that is Lodeco boarding the Halcyon. And if you don't know what that means, shame on you. But this, I guess it was technically spring, summer. Our very own Mike Celestino created a character, Lodeco Fendon, and documented his voyage on the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, and created a series of short films. And so, yeah, he had a
Antiquities.
And called Antiquities. There was a prequel that kind of set up the story and it wrap up, but the whole middle part is actually him on this cruise of sorts, and it's really interesting. And as someone who also got to do the Star Cruiser but didn't buy in quite as much as he did, it was interesting to see the differences between our experiences. So yeah,
have you done a Star Cruiser, Luke?
I have not, and it is interesting, but at the price point, it is not something I consider worth it. If it was heavily discounted, maybe, but it's a little bit too pricey for me for what it is.
I really want to do this. When this first launched, in addition to Antiquities, of course, I watched so many different vlogs on it. And this is my idea of a dream vacation where you can just get as immersed as you want to get into it and talk to all the people who are on the ship with you, both guests and the cast. I so want to do this. And I could never do it the way Lodeco here did it, Mike Celestino, but this is the perfect way to do it. I feel like I've never been so happy for another person as I was for Mike to be able to be Lodeco Fendon on the Galactic Starcruiser. I feel like he's built up his whole life to this moment, both as a Star Wars fan and as a filmmaker, which he's also that, to be able to create Antiquities. I'm so happy for Mike Celestino to be able to do that.
Do you happen to have a photo of do you have his action figure handy?
Is that safe? I mean,
I think so. It's fine. But yeah, I'll just say Lodeco's wife got an action figure of Lodeco for Christmas. So it's very cool looking, and yeah. And also, yeah, we should mention the Galactic Starcruiser was a big Disney investment. Love it or hate it, criticize it for the price point. It's an interesting experiment on the part of the company, and we'll see what happens to it from here. There's Lodeco, so cool. Which looks really good.
These should be available on our Patreon. This should be like a Patreon gift. It's easy to forget about the Star Cruiser. It happened so long ago. There's kind of this zeitgeist that it was, it did okay, not a big success. But it was to me, such a bold move for Disney to do something like this. And whether it succeeds or fails on its own, just to set a tone for some of the kinds of things they want to think about doing in the future. If not for the Iger-Chapek thing, I almost have a feeling this could be we could look back on 2022, maybe 10 years from now, and go, this was the most important thing that happened in Disney parks this year. Because there's just so many places this can go, and you had to do that first one. So I'm really excited about what the future of this fully immersive experience could end up being. I hope they do continue it.
I do too. I enjoyed it, and I thought they did a good job of balancing those who were willing to commit, like Mike, and those who are a little bit more trepidatious, like myself. I thought that I still had enough to do and still had my own level of surprises and interaction, even on a more passive and more antisocial level.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that one.
Oh, I want to get on there and talk to everybody and get so into
it. And you did at our number 10 pick. Number 10 is Disney fans return to the D23 Expo. There was lots of announcements at this, but basically we just wanted to highlight the fact that we all got to come together again. We got to, the two of us, Doobie and I, mostly spent our time at the Laughing Place booth, and we still had a blast. Like, even though I didn't go to a single panel, I really enjoyed just getting to talk to people and see all the cosplay and tell people about Laughing Place. So, I don't know. Do you feel the same way as I do, Doobie? I feel like you do.
I was so happy to just be at our booth the entire time. I could not have been happier. I did not want to leave to see a single. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if I have any pictures. I don't. Whatever. I did not want to leave to go to any presentation, and I don't think I saw any. I did go see a couple of the exhibits.
Yeah, same.
I did go see a couple of the exhibits, but all I wanted to do was stand there and, goodness, I'm so sorry. Luke, why don't you talk about Expo for a moment? I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, I was on the other end of it. This is actually the first Expo I didn't attend, which just down to a few circumstances, but that meant I was here rounding up all the news that we could and getting that posted out to you. So there was a lot of stuff that weekend, and it was exciting to see. It was also I to be a little bit more critical. Excuse me. To be a little bit more critical, the parks panel was interesting in that there were a lot of hey, here's something we might build if you're lucky. How do you like this idea? And I thought that was a weird way to go about doing it.
Yeah, they definitely took some heat for the parks panel for lack of announcements, and fully deserved. But as I said, the expo for us, this was our booth here at the D23 Expo, and our job was to stand. You can see Kyle back there working, and there's Gideon back there as well. I'm taking the picture, you idiot. Wow, but so yeah, I took pictures of every cool cosplayer I could that walked by. We talked to the people, asked them trivia questions, gave away buttons, and tons and tons of just stuff that we've accumulated over the past couple of years. Really nice stuff, really nice prizes that we get, and ask them simple trivia questions to give away, and just meet the fans and talk about Disney and Laughing Place and how great it is to see people again. Expo is such a stress for so many people trying to get into the presentations. And I mean, that's fine if that's what you're into, but I almost feel bad for them, because if you just want to hang out with Disney fans and enjoy the Disney atmosphere, it can be such a fun time. And I know the people who stressed it in the end, they had a fun time too. So I shouldn't even say that, but it was just 3 days of bliss for us, just going there and meeting Disney fans and seeing cosplayers and talking about Disney and seeing everyone again after the 3-year hiatus. It was a spectacular 3 days, and you could not have worded it any better on the list, Kyle.
Thank you.
All right, well, those are our top 10 Disney moments of 2022. I'm just going to run down them again really quick for you. We have the Iger-Chapek Sunday Switch, Nighttime Spectacular Return to Disneyland. Avatar: The Way of Water is finally released. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind brings Marvel to Walt Disney World. Obi-Wan and Vader have an epic rematch. The Illuminati make MCU fan dreams come true, sort of. Disneyland Paris celebrates its 30th anniversary with new drone show. Disney Wish Set Sale, Lodico on the Halcyon, and Disney fans return to the D23 Expo. Other than these 10, what stands out in your mind from this year that didn't make this list? Either it just didn't quite make the cut, or something that was especially personal to you. Luke, anything come to your mind?
I was gonna say I'm gonna go there. That's the bringing together of two universes for me, because ever since I was, I started watching Doctor Who around the time I was 10 years old, and I've been into Disney since practically birth. So those have really been like the two big things for me in life, and them coming together into sort of one entity is very interesting. And for those of you who aren't aware, Disney branded television entered into a deal to distribute Doctor Who on Disney Plus worldwide, except for in the UK, where it will remain on the BBC. And that's really good. And some Disney money is going to be going towards Doctor Who as well, to increase the budget and the look of that show. So, maybe we'll see Doctor Who make use of some things that we've seen in shows like The Mandalorian or other Star Wars projects. Maybe they'll use the realm, or the big circular, the volume. That's it.
How about you, Kyle?
Possible.
Yeah, well, forgot anything else, Luke, that you want to mention?
No, nothing else I can think of. That's really the big personal moment for me of the year.
Kyle?
Well, I have the advantage of helping to craft the list, so a lot of mine made it, surprisingly. I'd say, the Paris, the Dream and Shine Brighter, that was probably the biggest surprise for me of the year, just how chaotic and fun that whole thing was. And ended up watching it several times and enjoying it. So that's high on my list. And then as far as other things, probably some smaller plot things in some of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Like I'm thinking of one from Ms. Marvel specifically that involves a little musical cue that was very exciting.
I'm as surprised as anyone with the first one I'm going to mention, but She-Hulk, because I am not a Marvel guy, and She-Hulk turned out to be enjoyable week after week. And as far as specific moments, I don't want to spoil, but we'll say I think it was the final episode taking place in
just obliterating the fourth wall,
whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. That was, I was giggling like any real Marvel fan. That was a great moment. Andor, which was, I went back and looked back at our most anticipated, like Max said, She-Hulk twerking. Yeah, this is a guy with an X-Men video game in his living room. You can't listen to him. Excuse me, his office. I went back and looked at our most anticipated of 2022 that we did last December. And we had Obi-Wan way up here and Andor way down here. And I think if we redrafted that today, we would flip those. Andor turned out to be a huge surprise. Easily my favorite Star Wars thing done since the original trilogy. I loved Andor, and I got hooked on episode 3. I was warned ahead of time by Mike Celestino, who had seen the first three episodes, that the first 2 episodes are kind of slow, but it kicks in on number 3. So I made myself stay invested through those first 2. And the payoff in episode 3 was absolutely spectacular. And then I was hooked from then on. Everything in the prison just blew me away. I loved Andor. So that was a nice 2022 moment for me. And then just everything returning to the parks, Fantasmic, Finding Nemo show, Hoop to Do, Blizzard Beach. Again, things getting back to normal. Any day now, hopefully those reservations will get tossed to the curb and we can truly have a true Disney theme park experience, but perhaps I'm dreaming there. Iger, make it happen. Create the best moment of 2023.
We know you're watching, Bobby.
Seriously, he could do that. He could drop theme park reservations and we instantly have our top moment of 2023. So that would be a great moment. Thanks for joining us, guys. This has been the top 22 of 22. Let me check our calendar. What's coming up? Tomorrow at 1 p.m., we've got Star Wars Headlines with Rebecca and Mike Celestino, a.k.a. Lodico Fenton. I feel like he should do his last show of the year as Lodico, but that's just... And then coming at 4 p.m., we have Drafting Place, where we're going to be drafting our favorite moments of 2022 in each of 4 categories. That's going to be Kyle, Mac, me. Anybody else drafting that one?
Benjamin.
And Benjamin. And so that's going to be a fun draft. I got to get to work on that. And then New Year's Eve is Saturday. We're going to be doing a lot of live streaming on New Year's Eve, bringing you whatever we can from both coasts and anything going on in the world of Disney. So always make sure you like and subscribe, click that bell, watch Laughing Place TV, laughingplace.com/TV. Everything we do live ends up on there. So if you just leave that on all the time, you'll never miss a thing and be entertained.
We also have some video premieres coming up this week. We'll have our top 23 things we're looking forward to from Disney in 2023. And then we'll have our annual In Memoriam video as well. So keep an eye out for those.
Yes. And those, of course, premiering on YouTube and on Laughing Place TV. So once again, stay there. They'll be there. This has been fun, guys. Thanks for joining us, Luke. You probably are so backed up on your news desk now. So
It's the week between Christmas and New Year's. There's not too much going on.
That's true. And thanks. And I think that's about it. Until next time, happy anniversary, Rebecca.